I realise we haven't taken up new martial arts, nor have I ever been one to set much store by appearances. But I can't help feeling a certain lack of, I don't know, personal development.
You ever feel like Alisaie just simply can't win? Every single thing she ever does kind of gets overshadowed. Either her own story surrounding Bahamut gets taken over by Alfie now, or she simply gets taken out right before the climax of the story. Don't get me wrong, I love Alisaie. She's one of the best characters in the entire story. But when it comes to the side characters, like the Scions, she kind of feels like a side character. This is a continuation of my deep dive into all of the Scions character arcs. And right now, I had a really hard time doing Alisaie's, simply for the fact that it's hard to define what her character arc is. There's a lot of instances where it feels like she should have grown in this moment, like her summoning the sword and becoming a red mage in the story, or overcoming the trials that happened. But every single time she comes out pretty much the same character, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. There's plenty of characters like that. It's called an archetypical character, or a flat character arc. An example of this is Indiana Jones, one of the greatest movie heroes of all time. The problem with Alisaie is that the story itself constantly refers to different things in the story and actions and events that should cause character growth. You can really see this in the Bahamut, in the final couple cutscenes, when Alfie now comes in and is trying to tell Alisaie that she needs to find her own reason to fight, her own reason, and she needs to have some character growth. He's like screaming it at her while lording over her how he has a reason to fight, and it comes off very weird and wrong. And to be honest, there's a moment where they show her changing, and it's supposed to be her character flip and her finding her reason to fight, and I don't feel like she's any different after that point. There wasn't really character growth. It's just all the characters all of a sudden say, wow, the ideas that you had all along were character growth. You just hadn't voiced them, pretty much. Which just rubs me the wrong way.
You must needs find your own reason to fight for this realm. Your own meaning in this sea of chaos. Will you do that for me?
I will, Grandfather. In fact, I believe I already have. That reason has been with me all along, guiding me. Eorzea's blade of light, shearing through endless shrouds of darkness. I have been shown the miraculous feats of which we are all capable, of which I am capable. Bahamut, you have wreaked enough havoc. I will not let your wrathful fires consume all that we know and love.
How long I have waited to hear you say that! You have found your resolve at last!
I feel like this point is actually the best show of character development and character arc for Alisaie. You do get her being, I want to save people, and not really having a whole reason why, and then shouting a reason why, and then immediately seeing the people that she's helping and that she's saving, and it really solidifies who she is. We didn't have a long character arc, but it was still there. But the main problem with it is that it was still Alfie now coming in to save her, to help her out, and it's feels like he kind of stole the glory in this situation, and that she was a side character and he came in as the main character to help her out. So her main story that revolves around her was stolen by her brother and becomes more of like a story about just the twins altogether. That's okay. Well, what about her story going forward? Well, she kind of keeps taking L's, like the very next time we see her. If you don't remember what happens after that cutscene off screen, let me remind you, she gets hit with a poison arrow, and her initial return to the story is her lying on a couch poisoned.
Is that Alisaie, Alphinaud's twin sister? Friend me!
I sense you will offer more than mere target practice, unlike your sister.
Alisaie!
One good thing about Alisaie's character that they do seem to get right, though, is that she never really seems to stay down for long.
Did I not tell you, Alphinaud? I am not the girl I once was. My brother was always the clever one, while my talents lay elsewhere.
One of the reasons why she's so well liked and why her character itself is actually really good is because a lot of the actions she takes actually causes consequences in the story that are positive and push the narrative forward, and she actually contributes to where we end up, as opposed to a lot of other characters. And a lot of the criticism that a lot of other characters get, like Lyse, is that even though they're constantly trying to do things, they never actually make a difference. Alisaie is constantly on the front lines, constantly making a difference on the battlefield, and constantly stubbornly pushing the narrative forward with a lot of her actions and a lot of her words. You can see this in certain scenes, like when she's talking to Xenos or when she's talking to the Emperor. But when it comes to a lot of the final battles, she's just not there. Like in Stormblood, she's taken out a whole dungeon before the finale. She is just not present for the entire final confrontation. And while just prior to this, she showed off her combat prowess against the kobolds, who do we have that is used to show for Dola's strength and her capabilities? Well, the beating bag is none other than Alisaie, because she can't continue her winning streak. She has to get brought down.
Gotcha! I know what you can do. I've already seen it.
While it might be hard to find moments where Alisaie is actually the center of attention and does a really good job at pushing the story forward and doesn't get the limelight stolen out from under her, they definitely exist. While I feel like the actual completion of the tempering removal doesn't fully go to her, they definitely put a lot of limelight on her, which really covers up a lot of the shortcomings that they gave her time in the story before. So Endwalker, I definitely feel made up for a lot of just how the story left Alisaie in the dust. Even all the scenes that she shares with her brother, they actually do a decent job of keeping her pretty up there with Alfie now on importance. He does, of course, get the last words and the most important lines of these interactions, but they do a really good job of keeping her not really as the under character.
It's so cold.
Painfully so. Unbearably.
I've been thinking about what Quintus said. About why no one would accept Garlean rule. Irreconcilable differences. When coexistence isn't an option, only conquest remains. Varys at Gimlet said much the same. Only by uniting the world beneath a single standard would we rid ourselves of the Ascians. United as one people, one race cleansed of imperfections. A cold and unforgiving vision. And when we fail to live up to their standards, what place is there for us in their world? But the truly sad, truly frustrating thing is how damnably similar it all is to the lofty ideals of Father and the Forum. Non-intervention. Always non-intervention. Protect our knowledge and our people, and to hells with the rest of you. And yet, I can see how it happened. Varys and Father looked to their elders for guidance and took their virtues as their own. But for this world was of their making. In who else could they place their trust? All of us lost in a sea of chaos. Searching desperately for purpose and meaning. But it shouldn't just be an extension of another's. It has to be ours. It has to be.
And in that moment, you see her character arc come full circle. Where her character arc started in Bahamut, it ended at Endwalker, with that scene. Now, I started this saying that she didn't have a character arc and that she was constantly a side character, and what I'm ending this with saying is that good job, Square, for noticing gaps in the character, gaps in the story for this character, and really driving it home at the end. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm really having a fun time making these. This one was really difficult, and I'm really hoping the next one is a little bit easier for me. Please come check me out on Twitch. I stream Thursdays at 6 p.m. PST and Friday through Sunday at starting at 10 a.m. I pretty much go like all day, and we're doing raids, and I'm going back through the story of Final Fantasy right now, and I'm starting to hit Endwalker on that playthrough, and I'm really excited to get there. Please come check it out. We have tons of fun.